social protection solutions needed to balance human development. Government prepared to face fourth wave of COVID-19. Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're watching News at 10 with me, Shuhaida Arifin. Payment for Phase 2 of COVID-19 Special Assistance BKC will be disbursed from this Thursday, involving an allocation of 300 million ringgit. According to Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, the second payment would involve 700,000 households, single individuals and senior citizens who belong to the poor category. Explaining further in a statement, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the payment will be credited into their bank accounts, while recipients who do not have a bank account, including in Sabah and Sarawak, will receive their payments through the Bank Simpanan Nasional BSN branches. Checks for the BKC approval status can be made through the BKC portal. The Premier further noted that the government is always sensitive to the people's plight and hoped that the BKC payment would help to ease their burden, especially those who were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Payment of Phase 1 of the BKC was completed last September with an allocation of 3.1 billion ringgit and benefited almost 10 million recipients. As for the payment of Phase 3 of the BKC, it will be disbursed according to the schedule in December, involving an allocation of 1.2 billion ringgit for 3.8 million households comprising the poor and the B40 group. In another development, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri emphasised the needs for new and innovative social protection solutions to strike a balance between the provision of safety nets, promote financial resilience and human capital development. The Prime Minister said more collaborative efforts by the public and private sectors are also vital to form strong synergies between social security organisations, relevant stakeholders and policy makers. He said as Keluarga Malaysia, everyone should work together to establish a stronger social support system towards greater resiliency, especially for the poor and vulnerable groups.
If there is one thing we can take solace on from this crisis, is the nation's ability to do things the Malaysian way. After all, a Malaysian crisis requires a Malaysian solution. The Malaysian solution in this context is the government's commitment to strengthen and increase research activities under the Malaysia Social Protection Council, MySPC.
Speaking at the launch of the International Social Wellbeing Conference 2021 held online today, the Premier further explained that the government remains committed to eradicate poverty through greater collaboration within government agencies and statutory bodies. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister said Malaysia has the capacity and capability to achieve 100% digital inclusivity, especially among the vulnerable communities in its effort to bridge the digital divide. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said efficient and effective utilization of technologies could drive nation's economic growth by leveraging on public-private partnership projects, which would in turn reduce the government's expenditure as well as improve delivery of public facilities and services. According to the Premier, forging new collaborations with the private sector will ensure Malaysia's place as a top regional destination for investors and trigger rapid growth of the digital economy.
With our development strategy for the next 5 years under the 12th Malaysia Plan, the focus on strengthening growth enablers will continue to be given priority, especially in the technology and innovation sectors.
Speaking when launching Huawei Customer Solution Innovation Center, he pointed out that the digital economy is expected to contribute 25.5% to Malaysia's gross domestic product by 2025. He said the COVID-19 pandemic had accelerated digitalization to ease challenges of doing business during this difficult period without disrupting efficiency and productivity. The government is prepared to face the eventuality of the fourth wave of COVID-19 infection in the country following the Melaka state election last Saturday. Deputy Health Minister Dato' Erin Dagang said the effects of the COVID-19 infection would only be detected after 10 to 14 days. During the question and answer session in the Dewan Rakyat today, he said the MOH is monitoring the situation and the government is aware and ready to face the possibility of the fourth wave happening in the country.
Dan adunan darurat pencegahan dan pengelolaan penyakit berjangkit binaan 21 bagi meningkatkan pelibatan pelbagai pihak termasuk fasiliti kesihatan swasta dan pengamal perubatan swasta dalam menangani pandemik serta menguruskan kes COVID-19.
Taking a lesson from the Sabah election last year, Dato' Erin said a very strict standard operating procedure was set for the Melaka state election by not allowing large-scale campaigns to be held. He said a strict SOP would also be used for the coming Sarawak state election to curb the spread of COVID-19. The issue of sexual harassment in the country's entertainment industry should not be turned into a polemic, but the focus should instead be on further action to be taken as it is an offence under the law. Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said sexual harassment was not a trivial matter as it could also cause the victim to be traumatized and suffer from mental health disorders. Commenting on a news report that his views on sexual harassment had been misconstrued, Tan Sri Anwar said media practitioners must deliver information accurately, be more responsible in managing their contents and not cause confusion among the people.
Saya harap jangan disalahgunakan. Ya. Ada perbezaannya bila media communicate satu sama satu dan jangan ambil perkara itu out of context sebab kita kena jaga kepentingan orang awam.
Speaking to reporters after attending the International Visual Informatics Conference today, he said he had informed police to take further action if it was true that reports of sexual harassment in the country's entertainment industry had been lodged. Earlier in his speech, Tan Sri Anwar said Malaysia has embraced new technologies in both the public and private sectors, which included the development of e-government, telehealth and multi-purpose smart card, as well as the establishment of smart schools, with more than 4,500 companies and institutions having received the Multimedia Super Corridor status. As of 2020, he said, the MSc Malaysia program has generated revenue of more than 500 billion ringgit, while the digital economy in Malaysia is targeted to achieve 75 billion ringgit in gross national income contribution from the digital transformation initiatives by 2021. He said MDEC would also drive the development of MSc 2.0 in order to boost the country's digital economy and attract more digital investments. Coming up, students of higher learning institutions must master 21st century skills. Jalan Tapak Cameron Highlands at section 62.65 will be temporarily closed from today until further notice to facilitate emergency works following a landslide yesterday. Tapak Police Chief Superintendent Wan Azharuddin Wan Ismail in a statement said emergency works are being carried out on site and the temporary closure of the road is necessary to ensure the safety and comfort of road users in the future. Superintendent Wan Azharuddin also advised road users to be cautious and follow any instruction issued to avoid untoward incidents. The landslide affected the stretch between Batu 25 and Batu 26 of Jalan Tapah, Cameron Highlands, cutting off traffic on both sides of the road. According to Superintendent Wan Azharuddin, police were informed of the incident at 4:25 p.m. He said both sides of the road were blocked by fallen electric poles. However, the incident did not cause damage to any other property. In addition, he said signboards on the road closure had been erected at Batu 4, Jalan Pahang, and those intending to go to Cameron Highlands were advised to use alternative roads. However, he said residents living along the route until Batu 20 can still use the road and they are advised to be careful when travelling on that stretch. The Fire and Rescue Department plans to set up a mountain search and rescue MOSAR team in Cameron Highlands to handle the ever-increasing emergency cases in the tourist hotspot. Its Director General, Datuk Seri Muhammad Hamdan Wahid, said although it already has a department in the district, it needs to improve its speed and access to the highlands' more remote interior.
Kita di Cameron Island ada balai. Pada masa yang sama kita juga melihat kawasan yang memerlukan. Kalau di dalam parameter dan juga respon time kawasan jagaan tersebut tidak suka untuk kita respon dengan cepat, tak ada masalah. Yang kita pergi adalah kawasan yang kira isolated yang memerlukan orang tempatan itu untuk membantu kita di dalam masa yang terdekat.
Speaking to reporters after attending the department's Excellent Service Awards in Ipoh, Perak today, Datuk Seri Muhammad Hamdan said the MOSAR team would act according to the response of the department and provide assistance such as logistics and medical aid. The rapid technological change and globalization requires students of higher learning institutions to master 21st century skills. Higher Education Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Noraini Ahmad said this is because most employers now prefer to hire those who possess digital skills. In her speech at the launch of the University Malaysia Perlis Professional Program and the Technical and Vocational Education and Training Loan Scheme employees, delivered by the Ministry's Deputy Secretary General Policy, Dr. Muhammad Zabri Yusof, she said automation will have direct implications in the needs of de-skilling, reskilling and upskilling.
Pekerjaan di Malaysia bakal digantikan dengan automasi dalam jangka masa panjang. Antara pekerjaan yang berisiko tinggi untuk beralih kepada automasi sepenuhnya termasuklah accountant, operator mesin dan perkilangan, juruteknik kejuruteraan elektronik, juruteknik penerbangan dan juruteknik kejuruteraan elektrik.
Datuk Seri Dr. Noraini also urged students to develop or improve other skills such as social-emotional competencies, the ability to think creatively as well as being able to work independently. Science, Technology and Innovation Ministry will implement the Nano Malaysia Energy Storage Technology Initiative NESTI next year. Its Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Adham Baba said the initiative is a national pioneer platform as part of efforts to develop and commercialize energy storage system for electrical mobility and usage in domestic and industrial sectors and mobile solutions. Elaborating further on the matter, Datuk Seri Dr. Adham said a specific development allocation of RM2 million would be provided for the program, which would be implemented within 2 years.
Jadi kita mesti lahirkan teknologi-teknologi yang ke arah itu. Jadi dari segi peluang pekerjaan kepada rakyat kita, keluarga Malaysia, tentu sekali dia perlukan bakat, pembangunan bakat yang boleh membangunkan beberapa jenis bateri, tenaga bateri lah. Dan tentu sekali ke arah pembangunan bakat yang boleh mencipta apa yang dipanggil super capacitor yang menggantikan lithium ion pada ketika ini.
The NESTI program would create 6,000 high-value job opportunities in the next 3 years, with a direct impact on the projects to be implemented worth at least 150 million ringgit. The Employees Provident Fund (EPF) has decided to launch the I Sayang facility in the first quarter of next year. Its chairman, Tan Sri Ahmad Badri Mohammad Zahir, said this initiative is part of EPF's ongoing efforts to improve the livelihood of the people.
Is the I Sayang facilities, which allow for the voluntary transfer of 2% EPF contribution from the husband to the wife's account.
Tan Sri Ahmad Badri said another facility the retirement fund is set to launch is I Lindung, which allows the withdrawal from account 2 to purchase life and critical illness insurance through the EPF platform. He further noted that other initiatives that are currently being explored include the gradual approach towards mandating legal EPF coverage to non-agriculture informal sector workers. He said EPF will also be advocating its voluntary access scheme, where members can compel their employers to increase their EPF contribution to more than the 11% statutory rate. Terengganu FC (TFC) have fallen into a difficult path in their mission to qualify for the 2021 Malaysia Cup mission after being held to 1-1 draw by 2019 champions Johor Darul Takzim JDT in the first leg semi-final last night. In the action at Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin Stadium, Kuala Terengganu, the hosts succeeded in taking the lead but failed to hold on to position and thereby giving the advantage of away goal to JDT in the second leg this Friday. The result also kept the clean record of both TFC and JDT in their Malaysia Cup campaign intact, as the two teams have not been beaten. The squad under coach Muhammad Nafuzi Zain, which is still fresh from their success in the quarterfinals, started the game brilliantly when they took only 8 minutes to open the score by Jordan Minta, who was unguarded by 3 JDT defenders in the penalty box. JDT's equalizer came in the second half, with striker Bergson Da Silva receiving a pass from Arif Aiman Muhammad Hanapi, weaved his way past 2 TFC defenders to put in a thunderous volley with his right foot for a goal in the 50th minute. The Southern Tigers head coach Benjamin Mora then brought in 4 players, namely Safiq Rahim, Muhammad Safawi Rasid, Muhammad Dusomareh and Muhammad Shafiq Ahmad in the hunt for the winning goal, but their presence gave no impact until the final whistle. On another note, TFC chief coach Nafuzi Zain believes his team can qualify for the Malaysia Cup final, although the task ahead looks tough after their match with JDT and refused to press the panic button. He vowed to make his best preparation for the return leg at Sultan Ibrahim Stadium in Johor Bahru on Friday.
Sebab away goal tu, jadi kalau boleh memang kita elak daripada bolos lah, tapi lah kadang apa yang kita plan tu tak menjadi, itulah bola kan. Tapi untuk ke sana ialah kita dan saya tak rasa di sana pun JDT pun akan bertahan dengan result ni. So stay open game kat sana. Kita tahu JDT attacking team, so kita pun kena menyerang, so menjadikan gol. Kita try our best di sana lah.
Meanwhile, JDT's head coach Benjamin Mora said he had expected the stiff opposition from the Turtles squad, which had undoubtedly gone all out in search of a comfortable lead ahead of their clash in Johor Bahru. He also expressed satisfaction with his team's performance, saying the solitary goal gave them a valuable point.
We did not start well. The first 10-15 minutes we conceded, and that made it difficult to go up again, but we could, and we maintained the order, and we fixed situations in halftime, and I think second half was ours. We could have scored 1 more goal maybe, but we didn't. So 1 goal is away, I think is a good thing for us. 1-1, go to JP and try to make a good game, and then go to the final.
That concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, new social protection solutions are needed to balance human development. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Stay tuned to saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.